Okay, so DNA fingerprinting, or now it is known as DNA profiling. So this DNA profiling, again, we are making use of in very important areas of our forensic science, paternity disputes, etc. So what will we make use of in case of DNA fingerprinting? So the DNA of a person is unique when compared to that of the other persons. There are again very minute differences can exist between identical twins also, right? So what is the difference? Almost all the 99% of the genomic sequences are identical among individuals of the same species, but there are again minute, there are minimum variations between the genomic sequences, DNA sequence, nucleotide sequences in each individuals. So we are making use of that nucleotide sequence difference between these individuals or in identifying the culprit or whatever be the problem. So these varying nucleotide sequences we call it as variable number tandem repeats, VNTRs. And this also, and the VNTRs are those nucleotide sequences which can vary from 10 to 50 sequences. There will be short repeats in between each genes. So these genes are known as, these nucleotides are known as variable number tandem repeats. There will be a repeat, nucleotide repeats. So these tandem repeats will be varying from number 10 to 50 in nature. Those nucleotide sequences, these tandem repeats we call it as, if the tandem repeats are ranging from 10 to 50, we then call them as VNTRs, variable number tandem repeats, or they are also known as mini satellites. And there is one more type of tandem repeats which we call it as short tandem repeats. Short-term tandem repeats or short tandem repeats, which are again tandem repeats, but the number is much more less. That is 2 to 10 nucleotide sequences will be undergoing complete repeated random repeats between again gene sequences, genes. So these are known as microsatellites. So the mini satellites and microsatellites, VNTRs and short-term repeats. In short-term repeats and VNTRs will be varying from individual to individual. So this VNTRs are mini satellites and microsatellites. We are identifying the mini satellites or microsatellites in cases of this forensic science, right? So this is known as DNA profile. This will be varying from individual to individual, right? So this is made use of in the DNA fingerprinting, right? So they are the recorded patterns of polymorphisms of an individual's identity. It's unique to a particular person. Again, 99% of this mini satellite and microsatellite will be similar in case of identical twins also. So in the case of identical twins, it's much more tedious process to identify between the two individuals, but still again there are short amino acid sequences, small number of one or two amino acid sequences can vary between identical twins also, but it's a tedious process. But among the normal individuals or in between normal twins, the microsatellites and mini satellites, the repeats of the microsatellites and the mini satellites can vary from each other. So that is made use of in distinguishing one person to another, and is a valuable tool in the paternity dispute, rape, murder, then mutilated bodies that we were made use of in the 9/11 attack for identifying the individual who has lost their lives. Then explosions, clashes, tragedies, etc. It was first used in the year 1988. Right, the method was developed by Sir Alec Jeffreys, and the first incident of DNA fingerprinting was made use of in forensic medicine in the year 1988. And there are around 13 short-term random repeats which are we have made a gene bank, right? And there are 12 number of chromosomes among the 46 number of chromosomes. 26 pairs, 23 pair of chromosomes. There are 12 chromosomes which are having short-term repeats or microsatellites, and this has made a database. We have made a database, and these short-term repeats are made as a reference, and with this 13 STRs we are identifying the DNA fingerprinting of different persons. So this is made as a standard, and by referring this standard, we are identifying, we are making use of the DNA fingerprinting. Okay, so these 13 STR corresponds to 12 different chromosomes. 12 different chromosomes. Chromosome number 5, we are having 2 sets of STRs or microsatellites. So a total of 13 chromosomes are there, but even though there are 13 chromosomes, 2 sets of STRs are belong to same chromosome number 5. So a total of only 12. In effect, there are only 12 different chromosomes. 12 different chromosomes, 13 STRs has been identified. STRs means nucleotide sequences. Loci has been identified, and these 13 STRs are found to be vary from person to person, and hence they have made as a reference record, reference standard, and based on this reference standard, we are identifying, or we are making use of DNA fingerprinting, and this is known as computerized generated DNA index system, CODIS. That the database we call it as investigation CODIS, computerized DNA index system. Right, and it is prepared from minute amounts. Of course, we all know that from the crime sport, you can have only a small, or 1 drop of blood, or 1 drop of semen, or the hair follicle with a root can be used for. It is important that you should have the hair root for identifying the DNA. So the DNA will be present in the hair bulb or hair root, and can be extracted. And by using RPCR, we can identify the individual. So the DNA samples, this is the process that's going on. DNA samples are isolated, extracted. The DNA is isolated. We have seen the test tube, right? Then restriction enzymes are used. We are cutting that DNA, and it is separated by means of electrophoresis, and its southern blotting is there. Southern blotting is a technique used for identifying or separating DNA, right? And this is incubated, and this DNA fingerprinting is carried out. So the first step is extraction or isolation. The DNA is extracted. Now we are amplifying. We are having only single hair, no. So from the single hair, we are extracting the DNA sample, or we are having only a drop of blood, or we are having a drop of semen. So from that biological sample, we are extracting our DNA. It is isolated. It is amplified by PCR, right? Then it is subjected for southern blot. Southern blot means it's a blotting technique, that is with which we are having numerous number of DNAs, right? So from this DNA mixture, we are taking out the DNA which we are required. So the DNA will be subject for electrophoresis, right? So this electrophoresis sample is now visualized using electrophotogram, or DNA profile is made. So this is how the paternity dispute can be settled. That is, this is my child, and this is the mother, and we are having 2 fathers. So you have to confirm which among these persons belongs to the child's side, right? So we are going for the DNA samples are taken, blood samples or semen or whatever it is. Blood sample will be taken because we have got mother also, right? So blood sample will be taken from all the 4 persons involved in the case. So child, the DNA is extracted. It is PCR amplified. It is subjected for southern blotting. Southern blotting is a DNA isolation technique. So southern blotting, the bands are obtained, right? So these are the different sets of bands obtained, right? Same way, the mother and the 2 fathers samples are treated, and you are having a pattern, right? So see, this is from this is child's band. So you are keeping the child's band, and you are comparing it with your mother and the 2 fathers, right? So mother, this band is the same, and it has inherited from the mother. You know that out of the 46 number of chromosomes, 23 is coming from our father, and the remaining 23 is coming from our mother. So you are comparing this one, right? So see this, the baby is not having any of the DNAs which is similar to that of the child. So this is the alleged father. Okay, so this is how we are confirming the paternity testing. See, this comes from this is the 5th gene, or the DNA on the 5th position. So it is coming from the mother's side. Then there is a 7th one. right? So if you have one more person, he'll be given some extra bands, which is not corresponding to child. So that's how you come to the conclusion that which is the father. Who is the father? Not which. Who is the father? Then these are the different types of proteins we are now making use of through our DNA technology. Renin, it is a protein extracted from the cattle, is now commercially used for engineered bacteria. Then different types of enzymes we are synthesizing. Industrial applications are there. Then growth hormone we are using and introduced for the treatment. Insulin is the first human protein to be synthesized successfully by RDNA technology. So with these advancements, the two people who started the molecular biology, who discovered the structure of DNA, are Watson and Crick. So Watson and Crick sat together and they came to the conclusion that since the molecular biology section is advancing in such a way, we should have a consortium for identifying the genome sequencing. So they put forward an idea, and the Human Genome Project has come into existence, and it is an international scientific research project for identifying the base pair sequences of a human. So a complete human genome can be sequenced, but the work is not yet completed. Still, it's going on. It's world's largest collaborative biological project. It was started in the year 1990, Department of Energy and also National Institute of Health, headed by Watson and Crick. And again, the rough draft was completed in the year 2000, and then US President Bill Clinton and Tony Blair, British Prime Minister, along with Collins and Venter, who were the leaders of GP at that time in 2000, they announced the working draft of human genome sequencing, so that the 90% of the human genome sequencing was completed by 2000. Still, the work is going on. June 2019, again, they have reported that 99% of the euchromatic human genome was sequenced. The nucleotide sequencing was identified, but still there are gaps to be filled. Those gaps are still, they are named as stalled. It is remaining under investigation. So it was found that according to the Human Genome Project, the work based on the work completed so far, it has identified that about 60% of the predicted human proteins, they are having close similarity with all the other organisms. And it was found that again, about 40% of the predicted human proteins were having similarity with Drosophila melanogaster. What is Drosophila? It's nothing but a fruit fly. Fruit fly. So the fruit fly genome, DNA, around 40% of the human genome proteins are almost identical to that of the fruit fly. In case of C. elegans, that is roundworm. About 40% similarity was existing between the eukaryotes, the higher organisms, that is the humans, and the fruit flies, the worms, etc. And was again, it has been proven that only 94 proteins of the studied proteins, of the isolated sequenced proteins, out of the 1,278 protein families, out of the 1,278 protein families, only 94 proteins are specific to eukaryotes. All the other remaining are 95 are specific for the vertebrates. All the remaining proteins are common to all the members of the biological system means as a whole. It is found in prokaryotes, unicellular eukaryotes, lower organisms. All of them are common, invertebrates, etc. So out of the around 1,278 proteins has been identified, and all these proteins are having are found in all the members of the species. Of all the species, out of these 1,278 proteins, only 94 is found to be unique to the vertebrates. Remaining are all shared by all the organisms, invariably of prokaryotes and unicellular organisms. The rest have, so it has been found that we have come from what? Ancestors. So that's why clinical diagnosis to study the evolution. So evolution. the evolutionary advancement has been studied based on the rDNA technology, right? So these are the various applications. I hope you have followed, you have understood the relevance of molecular biology. Thank you.